Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for taking your time to join me. Here's an update what's going on at Yellowstone. Yeah, a little dirty there at one of the hot poles that they're looking at on the live webcam for Yellowstone. Yesterday it was fairly calm. Today it's more active. Not surprising. Yesterday was probably the calm before the storm. And I found some interesting information about earthquakes and volcanic activity. Mount Pinatubo. There was a large earthquake before its eruption, almost 9 months before it decided to erupt. The earthquake, a magnitude 7.8, was 60 miles or 100 kilometers from Mount Pinatubo. Yeah, and it took almost a year after that earthquake before it erupted. Mount Pinatubo was probably the second largest volcanic eruption in the 19th century. The largest volcanic eruption was Mount Tambora in 1815. That one caused the year without summer. But not to say that Mount Pinatubo didn't have an effect on the earth either. For about 3 years, it lowered the temperature of the planet by about 0.5 degrees. More about that in a little bit. But here's the live stream showing the different earthquakes that are currently occurring. Yeah, we've had some significant ones and some small ones. Yeah, this one here, I believe, that is a magnitude 2.5. And then we got another one here. We'll go look at the swarm view so we can look at all the different earthquakes. Okay, this is 1440. Oh, about 1441, actually. And this shows up across all 4 monitors. So that would be at 9:41 a.m. today, which is April 3rd. Not being reported as of yet. For some reason, USGS has been very slow in reporting the earthquakes. So here we have Maple Creek. It looked like the larger of the signatures. Okay, we'll go to the seismic signature on these. A little bit of a P wave, not much. Oh, wrong monitor. Okay, right there. So I'll make this one bigger. And we'll bring it down, and it comes in. Those of you with larger screens can see it's a magnitude 2.58. Then we got another one. Okay, I'll do this one. This is the larger one. Let's see, 9:55 Universal Time. That one comes in as a magnitude 2.81. Now, 9:55 Universal Time would have been at 4:55 a.m. today. We'll make that smaller, and let's see, we'll find it on all the 4 monitors for you. On the left, we have the borehole 208. That is for Yellowstone Lake up by the fishing bridge. The next one is Little West Thumb. Yeah, I noticed a little bit of screaming today. This is Maple Creek. And then the one on the right is the western boundary. Not hard to figure out where the earthquake occurred by the spectrogram. This other earthquake, for some reason, they never reported. It was yesterday at 1727 Universal. You can see it here at Maple Creek, western boundary. Just a little blip at Little West Thumb. And yeah, a really small blip there at the borehole for Yellowstone Lake. They never reported it. That would have been at 12:27 p.m. yesterday afternoon. It looks like, again, Maple Creek being the better signature. We'll go to the spectrogram and look at it. Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up between western boundary and Maple Creek. Let me make that one bigger. And we'll go to the seismic signature. Yeah, I believe that's the one I actually reported yesterday. Yeah, because I can tell by the signature. Now this is western boundary. And let's go to Maple Creek. We'll make that one bigger. Okay, yeah. Now I believe that's the one I said was harmonic and volcanic tremors. This is currently what the western boundary is showing. And I think that's the one I just did. Yes, 1441. We got another one here not being reported. Let's check that out. Yeah, volcanic tremors. And here's another one. Now that one looks tectonic in nature. Or fault movement. I could be wrong. It could be volcanic. We do have harmonic tremors here. This is what it was showing when I pulled the files. This here is what Little West Thumb was showing. Now this is on the eastern side of Yellowstone Lake. Yeah. I want to find where I had thought I had seen some screaming going on. This is 8:40 Universal Time, which would have been 3:40 a.m. Let's see, I want to jump around here. 7:18, you can see a distinct line of melt that was forming. That would have been 2:30 a.m. I want to go back to the other one. I might have gave you the wrong time for this one. Yeah, I did. That would have been 7:08 p.m. last night. Yeah, I gave you the wrong time for that one. We've got another one there. Oh my goodness. 7:17 p.m. yesterday. A quick popping of the ground. Looks like the quake came from the north. That's because it's pointing up. Up would be north. And then this other one, if I can find it again. Right there. Yeah, it came from the north. It kind of looks like at about 1:55 a.m. is when that second line of melt started showing, where the heat started coming up. Yeah. Here we got 1:56 a.m. And that's just, then it settled down. Then about at 2 o'clock or 2 a.m., yeah, it started up again. Oops, went off. Where is it? Right there. Okay. Yeah, 2:32. Kind of faded out a little bit. You can see it a little bit. Let me bring it over. You can still barely see it there. And it settled down, and then we had some small quakes. Let me see what's going on there. And there. And there. The reason I brought up Mount Pinatubo was because of its activity. It had the magnitude 7.8, and 8-9 months later is when it erupted. The earthquake created pressure on the volcano, even though it was 60 miles from the volcano, or 100 kilometers. And we need to learn from other volcanoes and activity how 9 months later that earthquake actually caused it to erupt. On July 16th, 1990, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake happened about 60 miles or 100 kilometers northeast of Mount Pinatubo. It was on the island of Luzon in the Philippines. I don't have that earthquake listed here. I don't think I do. No, I'm going to have to put it on my Google Earth maps. But here is Mount Pinatubo. And so the northeast side, 60 miles away, is where the earthquake occurred. So at that time, that earthquake caused a landslide, some local earthquakes, and a short-lived increase in steam emissions from pre-existing thermal areas, just like they got there at Yellowstone. But otherwise, the volcano seemed to be continuing its 500-year-old slumber undisturbed. However, in March and April of the following year, 1991, molten rock, they noticed, was rising to the surface because of the gases that were coming up. Now, there was an increase in earthquakes. One of the geologists became very concerned and told them they needed to keep an eye on this, and then it settled down. But then, within 48 hours, it started its eruption. Molten rock, magma, rising towards the surface for more than 20 miles, or 32 kilometers, beneath Mount Pinatubo, triggered a small earthquake and caused powerful steam explosions that blasted 3 craters on the north flank of the volcano. So they had 3 hydrothermal eruptions. Thousands of small earthquakes occurred between Pinatubo through April, May, and early June, and many thousand tons of sulfur dioxide gas were also emitted by the volcano. They were making helicopter flights even during the typhoon, because there was a typhoon going on at the same time, and were taking gas readings. When the gas readings got about 5,000 times the background readings, that's when they put out the alert and evacuated, many people. Between June 7th and the 12th, the first magma reached the surface of Mount Pinatubo. Because it had lost most of its gas contained on its way up to the surface. We've talked about the bottle of soda. You shake it up and, all the gases come out. But at that time, the gases were released, and so basically there wasn't a lot of gas, and kind of like your soda going flat. So the first eruption, the magma oozed out to form a lava dome, but did not cause an explosive eruption. However, on June 12th, millions of cubic yards of gas-charged magma reached the surface and exploded in a reawakening of the volcano's first spectacular eruption. However, it wasn't done. That was just the volcano clearing its throat. On June 15th, the volcano exploded. In a cataclysmic eruption, they ejected more than 1 cubic mile, 5 cubic kilometers of material. The ash cloud erupted more than 22 miles, 35 kilometers up into the air. Because of the typhoon, it sucked up much of the ash around the outside edges of the typhoon. And the ash was blown in all directions by the intense cyclone winds, and much of the ash was then blown southwest. A lot of people think about the ash as like sand, but it's not. It's rock and particles of glass that is deadly if you breathe it in. Pyroclastic flows roared down the flanks of Mount Pinatubo, filling the once deep valleys with fresh volcanic deposits as much as 660 feet deep, or 200 meters thick. So much magma came out from below that the volcano summit collapsed to form a large volcanic depression, a caldera, 1.6 miles wide. It took about a month for the volcanic ash to reach both the north and south poles and decrease the world's temperature by about a half a degree for 3 years. Despite evacuating about 12 to 15 miles around the volcano, about 600 people were still killed because of the eruption. A total of 58,000 people were evacuated, but just like Mount St. Helens, they did not anticipate exactly how far the pyroclastic flows would go. Because of the gases that went up into the stratosphere, it created an ozone depletion. And 90% of the material that was released by the eruption happened within the 9 hours on June 15th. The aerosol cloud spread around the Earth within 2 weeks and covered the planet within a year. During 1992 and 93, the ozone hole over the Antarctic reached an unprecedented size. Now, they say that the maximum reduction in global temperature occurred in August of 1992 with a reduction of 0.73 Celsius, which is about 33 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a big difference in cooling for the Earth, 33 degrees Fahrenheit. The eruption is believed to have influenced such events in 1993 as floods along the Mississippi River and the drought in Sahel region of Africa. The United States experienced its third coldest and third wettest summer in 77 years during 1992. The largest volcanic eruption for the 21st century has been the Tonga eruption, and it is my opinion that this volcanic eruption is what's creating and has created the changing of our jet stream. That, of course, along with the weakening of our magnetic field, but also all the strange and extreme weather we've been having this year. That one, too, put a lot of material and water up into the stratosphere. Once it cleared its throat, that volcano erupted within 1 hour. Yeah, they've been real hush-hush about the volcanic ash and how far it spread, but it probably also spread to the North and South Poles and around the world. So here's a current view of Yellowstone supervolcano. Let's check out what the stream view is showing. This here is for the borehole for Yellowstone Lake. Again, it's up by the fishing bridge. Oops. And I wanted to see what it was showing and doing when I pulled the files. We got several earthquakes marked in red here. And being a borehole, it only picks up what goes on under the ground. See, that one's shallow. Nothing from outside because it's just way too deep. There's another one there. Let's take a look at the seismic signature and go back to the other one. Let's see, right there. Go back a little bit farther. There's one over here on the right. I'll pull that over, marked in red. Yeah, and there was all kinds of seismic activity going on earlier. This would have been last night. Yeah. That little earthquake looks like little eyes staring at you, don't it? Little squinty eye, like they're winking. The volcano's winking. So it's currently 11:33 a.m. as I'm making this video. If you have any thoughts, put it down below. But people need to be aware. Yeah, any volcano can erupt. The earliest sign they had for the other volcano was the hydrothermal eruption. Yeah. And you can see here the line of trees that have died because of the gases that have come up. Those of you that might be new don't realize that these trees grew up what they call during the quiet period. And now they're slowly dying off as the volcano recharges for another eruption. And it's killing off the trees. Oh, they just moved the camera again. Yeah. But, yeah, you always... Oh, there's a beehive. You always need to be prepared. You're an adult. You're not a child, depending on someone else to prepare you, protect you, take care of you after a major disaster. You should be prepared on your own. Yeah, so always be prepared. And if you have any extra comments or thoughts, please add that down below. Please thumbs up my videos. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.